if you're about to buy a wig or a hat and you have to select a size, get out your measuring tape because we are going to figure out exactly what size you wear. First off, take my dad's advice and use the right tool for the right job. Don't settle for a ruler or even a carpenter's measuring tape because you're less likely to get a correct measurement. Even with some clever fiddling, neither one really wraps snugly around your head. Do a little search around the house for that sad old sewing kit, or check the drugstore houseware aisle, or just call up a friend and borrow a proper dressmaker's tape. Worst comes to worst, you can use a piece of non-stretchy ribbon, mark your head measurements on it with a pen, and then measure that with your ruler or carpenter's tape. Once you have your measuring tools in hand and something to jot down the numbers, get ready to rumble because I'm going to give you 2 ways of measuring your head. One for hats and the other for wigs. Hat measurements first. Oh, and by the way, if you're hearing snoring, it's not me. It's not a sinus condition. It's Cherry, my little helper. She's being very patient with me today. Okay. We may even measure her head in a minute. If you know you'll be wearing a scarf or wig under your hat, you should put that on before you measure because it can make a big difference in how the hat fits. You don't want it squeezing your head because it's too tight or flying off with every puff of wind because it's too big. To measure the circumference of your head, let's go way back to 1967. Remember headbands? Okay. Make like a headband with a measuring tape starting in the middle of your forehead, just above your eyebrows, going back around above your ears, around the largest part of the back of your head, and then back to the front again. Make sure you're keeping the tape snug, but don't squeeze it too tight because that can change the measurement. Okay, got that number? 23, great, write it down. That is the circumference of your head. Now, let's look at this handy dandy sizing chart from the hatsunlimited.com website to determine your hat size. A head circumference of 21 1/8 inches to 22 1/4 inches means you would wear a small to medium size hat. Some websites alternately call this petite to average. If you are 22 5/8 inches to 23 inches, you are a large size. That's where I fall. 23 1/2 to 23 7/8 is extra large. 24 1/4 to 24 5/8 is double XL, and 25 inches and over is triple XL. Okay, a few tips for hat sizing. Remember the old carpenter saying, measure twice, buy once. Thanks again, Daddy. Same goes for hat buying. Tip number 2, size up, not down. If your measurement falls between the numbers listed on the chart, it's good to round up to the next 1/8 of an inch. 3, even if you measure carefully and correctly, you may find that some hats just aren't sized accurately. And also, some manufacturers aren't as exact as others, so don't be surprised if you have to exchange or even return that adorable little hat. Finally, fit your hat. If it's too big for your head, consider buying a hat sizer to make it more snug. You can order one online from the American Cancer Society TLC catalog or from a number of other sites and vendors. A sizer can make your hat up to 2 sizes smaller. Ladies, if your head is 23 inches circumference or larger, consider shopping in the men's hat department like I do, or just make sure the hat is stretchy enough to fit you. There's always the option of steaming a hat to make it larger, but just make sure you know what you're doing if you try this. You don't want to turn a nice chapeau into an unwearable objet. Next, measuring for wigs. Many wigs already come one size fits all, but some of the more expensive ones give you a range of sizes, usually divided into petite, average, and large. You'll need to take several measurements, so let's get to it. If you haven't lost your hair yet, but you want to buy a wig in advance so you'll be ready for that moment, you'll want to put on a tight-fitting wig cap to squash down your hair. There we go. I've sometimes resorted to cutting up an old pair of pantyhose. Snip, snip. Or you can pull your hair into a tight pony or bun before you measure. You might even want to wet your hair and pin it down to make it lie flatter, because once you lose your hair, your wig size may adjust down somewhat. Okay, we're going to take 3 measurements, right, Cherry? We're going to measure circumference, front to back, and side to side. I know you want me to, but I'm not going to put a wig on this dog because that would be ridiculous and very humiliating. All right, sweetie. Yeah, you're a good girl. Okay. The circumference measurement for a wig is done a little differently from the way that we measured for the hat. We start at the natural hairline, and if you've already lost some hair, just start where you want the hairline for your wig to be. Go back around the nape of your neck, not up higher for like we did for the hat, but following your hairline or where your wig hairline would be, and going back up to the starting point. That is your wig circumference. Jot that down. Front to back, start again at the natural hairline in front and go over the top of your head to the nape where your hairline would end in the back. Mark that down. And then side to side. Start in front of the ear where the hairline ends, then over the head to the other ear. That is your side to side or ear to ear measurement. You got that? Great. Voila. And now we translate those numbers into wig sizes using the American Cancer Society TLC catalog wig sizing chart. For a petite to small wig, you would have any of these numbers or below. You can always buy a small wig and then adjust the strap smaller to fit your head. You'd have a circumference of 21 inches, front to back of 13 3/8, ear to ear of 12 and 7/8 to 13 inches. I can't read from backwards like this. For an average size wig, you would be 21.5 inch circumference, front to back 14.5 to 14 3/4, and ear to ear 13 3/8. Large size, you would be these numbers or above: 23 inches, 14 7/8 to 15 1/4, or ear to ear 13 7/8. If your numbers don't exactly match the ones on the chart, choose the next size up. Many wigs have Velcro tabs or elastic bands that can tighten the wig by as much as 5 inches. Well, now you know your head size for both hats and wigs. If you still have questions or you feel unsure, try calling or getting on the chat line with the company that you plan to buy from. They often have advisors to help you and even tell you if a particular hat or wig runs large or small. Thanks for joining me and Cherry. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to share these videos with anyone you know who might need some help and encouragement to carry on and dress up their bean too.